okay? If you don't know who Bonnie Turpin is, do you even listen to audiobooks, bro? Hey y'all, welcome back to Chocolate Covered Pages. I'm Kianna, and in today's video I'm going to be doing books as text from my husband. This trend was started by Margot over on Bookstagram, and I will link her page down below in the description box, so you could definitely check her out. She has way more other creative things. She's great. So definitely check out her page. She started with books as text from my mom, and I knew that I could not hop on that one. So when she came out with books as text from my wife, I was like, you know what? Okay, let me look through some text from the husband and see, you know, what I could use, what I could maybe, you know, flip a little and make sense for books. And, you know, there's a lot I couldn't use. But I was able to find some texts that were appropriate for this audience. So here we go. Let's get into it. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about each of the books that I'm going to be recommending. Well, not all of these are recommendations. Well, you'll know based on the text, right? Okay, so I'm not going to spend too much time literally getting into all of the books, you know, the synopsis and all that other stuff, because we got a few texts to kind of go through. So we're going to be like this, okay? I will have all of the books that I mentioned linked down below, as I do in every video. So definitely check down there. If you just couldn't catch the name really quickly, they're gonna all be down in the description box. So let's go. Which book would you recommend? So I definitely took some time for this one, because obviously there's so many books I could recommend, but I don't want to repeat any books throughout this video. So for this one, we're gonna do a little mix of some genres here, just to have a little something for each person, you know? Okay, so for memoirs, I would definitely recommend The Dragon, the Giants, the Women by Wayetu. For fiction, I would definitely recommend Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. For fantasy, I would definitely recommend Black Sun by Roanhorse. Love that book. Absolutely love that book. For urban romance, which I love, we're going to go with Lemon Pepper by Nina. Pretty much anything by Nina is gonna be good, but yeah, we'll start there. That's her latest. So go with that. Okay, so the next text is WTF. So for this text, I'm gonna go with books that definitely had me saying WTF pretty often while I was reading it. Like, these are some of the strangest books that I have come across, and yeah, I said WTF many times while reading these books, but I still enjoyed them. So not WTF in like a what the hell is this? WTF as in what just happened? I like it, but like what just happened, right? Okay, so Eileen by Otessa Moshfegh. That main character in that book is one of the most strangest, nastiest, disturbed main characters I have ever read. And like, I even closed the book like, what did I just read? But if you like strange books, then you'll like it too. And I can never forget my reading experience with The Vegetarian by Hong Kong. Another book that had me saying WTF was The Woman in the Purple Skirt by Natsuko Imamura. Okay, and on to the next text is That's Nasty. Don't ask me what he was talking about. I'm not answering. I'm not giving no, I just want to say I'm not giving no context to any of these text messages. I'll just tell you this. Stay out of married folks' business. And I'm just going to leave it at that, okay? So he said, that's nasty, right? So I am going to recommend books that have some of the best sex scenes that I've read, right? Okay, so If You Let Me by Kema B, Just Say Yes by Brix mcqueen, Ridin for You by Telia Tianna. I do want to warn you and let you know that that is a book 1 and it leaves on a cliffhanger. So just so you know, that's why I haven't mentioned that book anytime before this, because it leaves on a cliffhanger and I don't know when book 2 is coming out. But I really enjoyed the sex scenes in that book. Old Faithful, that I've mentioned multiple times, Neighborly by Katrina Jackson. There is a dinner scene in that book that is just very good. Next text is We Not Young No More. We're not. We're not. So I will take this opportunity to recommend some young adult books. And I'm going to go with Angel and Hannah by Isley Park. I really enjoyed this one. This is like a Romeo and Juliet retelling in the hood. And I really enjoyed this. Chlorine Sky by Mahogany Browne. Really, again, love this one. These two just so happen to both be in verse. Maybe I really like young adult books that are in verse because they're just so poetic in nature, and I don't know, it just flows. And they were like super quick to get through because, you know, they're in verse. Also, I cannot talk about young adult books without having at least one Tiffany D. Jackson on this list. I'm gonna go with Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson because that is one of my favorite ones by her. But yeah, pretty much any Tiffany D. Jackson that is in White Smoke is pretty good. Now we're gonna get a little bit shady. Just a little bit. Okay, just a little bit. The next text is And you know, just means like like that's how I felt about these books. Like, these were just okay for me. Nothing groundbreaking, nothing. I'm probably, half of these I don't even fully remember at this point, but like I read it, I didn't really feel the feelings that I think I was supposed to feel while I was reading it, and it just kind of like 3 stars, you know. Like, I didn't hate it. It was just like, okay, you know what I mean? So these are books that you probably never heard me talk about because I don't really talk about books that I find just okay, because who want to read that? You know what I mean? So let's pull the list, okay? The Rib King by Ladie Hubbard. The Days of Afrekete by Asali Solomon. This was very disappointing for me. I'm not gonna lie, I had really high hopes for this one. And this actually had the potential to be so good, but the chapter flip, it was going from the past. That was amazing. The past stories, the chapters, those were really good. The current life, present day chapters, those were not good. Those were boring me to tears. I did not give a damn about any of that. I wish that this book had just been a historical fiction and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, it could have been so good. And I hate when I could foresee what direction the book should have went in, but it didn't. So it's like, I just, yeah, it's unfortunate. Okay, what else we got here? The Secret Talker by Gilling Yan. This book didn't do anything for me. Carolina Built by Kianna Alexander. This book was more about her family life and drama with her husband, as opposed to a real fictionalized story on how this black woman, who is real, right? On how this black woman came to be like super rich and owning so much property at a time where a lot of black women did not own property, right? I wanted to know more about that. I didn't give a damn, like, I mean, I'm just talking about like chapters and chapters about her and her husband. It was just, I'm open this book for that. That's how I was feeling. You know what I mean? Yeah. The Selfless Act of Breathing by J.J. Bola. You know, I mean, take this one with a grain of salt, because some people really do like this book. I just was just like whatever about it, to be honest. Yeah. Jackal by Erin E. Adams. Yeah. This was just, and I this was another one I had really high hopes for. Notice I never talked about this book on the channel. Like, I did a trial chapter with it, and y'all never heard nothing else about this book since then, because there was nothing to say. I'm sorry, there was nothing to say. Yeah. So Braised Pork by Anu. Yeah, I don't really know what was going on in this book, to be honest. Like, I don't know. Okay, so another text from hubby was "Get my money." And for this text, I'm going to recommend some books by dudes with that bread. You know, the rich dudes, the kingpins. The Replacements by Shae Sanders. I love the main character in the male main character in that book, the love interest. He is in a very high position in this corporation, and he just exudes, you know, that dude. He really, he's a boss. You know what I mean? He's the boss, and yeah, I like that, you know. Let me see. Amore by Doc. And this one I just recently finished at the beginning of this month, and when I tell you, this book is so good. Like, this book is one of them ones, okay? It's urban fiction, but I feel like Doc brings a lot of extra elements into this one. Like, you could tell either she's Muslim or she's done a lot of research regarding, you know, Islam, because I have never read a main character in an urban romance book where the main character is Muslim. I've never read one, and I just love how the main character in this book name is Neek, and well, Yannick, and he's very serious about his faith. You know, he's very serious about his faith, you know, but the point of this is he got money. He don't start off with money, but he got money. He got money, and he not afraid to spend it, and he's very smart, and the things that he does with his money, I love and respect so much. Definitely pick this book up. This book had me in a chokehold for like 2-3 days, the whole entire time that I was reading it. Like, I could not read this book fast enough, and I'm typically like weary of urban romance. It's hard to get me to read an urban romance book that is over 400 pages. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's like, you gotta really sell it to me. You gotta come out the gate like, you know, with something. And this one really just kept me turning the pages. I was tuned in. I was very much tuned in on this one. It's very good. Definitely pick this one up if it sounds like something you'd be into. Valentine's Day with a Street King by Bianca Marie. And I couldn't make this list without including Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter by Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent, because he is dropping some very good gems in that book, and we all know he got a lot of money, so he definitely fits the theme. The next text is These Look Good, and for this text I am going to be showing you some books that I haven't read yet, but they look really good to me, and I definitely want to try to get to them before the end of the year. It is so many books, but we're gonna keep it very, very short for the sake of this video, right? So first up is gonna be How to Say Babylon by Sophia Sinclair. This book has definitely been making its rounds all over Bookstagram, and I'm sure for very good reason. It's a memoir about a woman who was a Rastafarian, and she is just talking about what that life was like, and I'm very intrigued. I mean, I don't know any other books like this. I don't know any other books like this that are really like kind of giving you a peek behind the curtain of what that lifestyle fully is like. I also want to read When Crack Was King by Donovan X. Ramsey. As someone that was born in the 80s and raised in the 90s, I know how serious the crack epidemic was. Like, no joke. I've known many people that were on it. I've seen it. I don't know any household that it didn't touch. As far as, you know, black people, I just don't at all. So I'm definitely looking forward to digging a bit deeper and reading this one, because I think, you know, it'd be good to just kind of learn some more about it. I also am looking forward to reading The House of Doors by Tan Tuan Ng. First of all, this cover is so gorgeous. I think I might be able to find a cute outfit to go with the book, you know, for content purposes or whatever. But I also obviously want to like read it. So hopefully it's good. And then I'll look for an outfit, and then, you know, it'll all come together. I ain't looking for an outfit if I don't like it now. So yeah. But this looks really good. I'm looking forward to it. I believe it's like a generational saga, and I love generational sagas. So yeah, good cover and generational saga. Sign me up. The next text is Everyone is Crying, and I'm going to go with books that personally made me cry and probably might make some other people cry too. And the first one is gonna be Rootless by Crystal Zara Appiah, and I've definitely talked about this book in another video, so I won't spend any time talking about it. But this one definitely had me in my feelings, right? Yeah. Another book that had me in my feelings was Red at the Bone by Jacqueline Woodson, and y'all know Jacqueline Woodson, she does this, you know, like she does this. I, no lie, was on the subway. This is back when I actually used to ride the subway. When I was riding the subway, I was listening to this book on my in my headphones, and I started crying on the train. But you know, I'm in New York, so like, wasn't nobody paying me no mind. Nobody cared. Nobody asked me was I okay. Nothing. See, that is New York for you, because everybody just minding their business. It's a good thing, but it's also like, dang, like, you ain't even see if I was okay. Like, nobody cared. But yeah, I was definitely like, you know, it was a little moment, and I'm not the only person that feels like this about this book. So, I'm not just a crybaby, but yeah, definitely, if you want to cry, definitely get into this book. The next text is I Miss You Too, and I wanted to, for this one, I'm going to do books that I wish I could read again for the first time. And number one is gonna be Age of Vice by D.T. Kapoor. I know y'all are tired of me talking about this book. It's because y'all not reading it. if somebody would just comment and say, I read this book because you was talking about it, I probably might shut up. Probably, right? But y'all don't tell me that y'all reading it, so I gotta keep pushing it. It's super thick. It's super thick, but it's worth it. It's really worth it, I promise. I wish I could read this book all over again from the beginning, because it's certain things that you don't pick up on when you're reading the book from the beginning, and it would be amazing to read it again for the first time. Like, okay, now that I know this, let me go back and read it again. So it's like, oh, okay. So I definitely think I will probably end up rereading this book. Even as long as it is, I'll probably do it on audio. But yes, I just want to go back to some things that I might have missed the first time, like little clues, because I feel like she was dropping little Easter eggs throughout, and maybe I didn't catch them. So another book that I wish I could read again for the first time is actually not a book. It is a series, and it is going to be the Jade Legacy series. I love every single book in this series. This is one of my favorite fantasy series that I've ever read, right? That I've ever read. And I'm going to be honest, I am terrible about reading the rest of the books in a series. We're going to get to that in a little while. I am terrible at that. But when I tell you, when I read book 1 of this series, I was so glad that I had waited for 1 and 2 to come out, and I knew number 3 was coming out shortly. That's when I began book 1. You know, because I can't imagine having read book 1 and I gotta wait a whole year for book 2 to come out. No, absolutely not. I don't like that for me. So book 1, so the Jade Legacy series by Fonda Lee. Book 1 is really good. Book 2 is even better than book 1. Book 3 is just a masterpiece. Book 3 is just everything that I could have hoped and wanted in a series finale. Like, honestly, like, she owed me nothing. It's so thick too. It's so thick. And that's how you, like, when I seen it was so thick, I was like, you know what, Fonda Lee? I feel like you're gonna give me everything I need in all of these pages. And she did. She really did it. And I was so satisfied. I literally had nothing to say. I was stuck when I finished reading that last book. And I was also ruined for other fantasy series that don't pull me in like that. But yeah, I really wish that I could experience that series again for the first time, because it blew me away. It honestly blew me away. And when I see that somebody is starting the series for the first time, I'm jealous. I'm legit jealous that they have 2 other books that they haven't even picked up yet, and they get to just experience it. Okay, the next text is, I'm listening to it now, thinking about you. And for this one, I decided to go with some audiobooks that I think are fantastic. Okay, I want to go with an audiobook that I recently finished in September. And the audiobook, first of all, when I saw the lineup of who was on the audiobook, I knew it was going to be fire, because Tina Lifford, Bonnie Turpin, that chick Turpin, okay? If you don't know who Bonnie Turpin is, do you even listen to audiobooks, bro? If you don't know who Bonnie Turpin is, she is the queen of audiobooks, in my opinion. She's a queen. Like, I wasn't a big fan of audiobooks until I came across a book that was read by Bonnie Turpin. And then my life was changed. That's when I knew, okay, it's not true. It's the narrators that are not pulling you in and allowing you to fully get immersed in the story. You need to start paying attention who's narrating what, and then if it ain't working, then just move on. So I really fell in love with audiobooks after listening to a Bonnie Turpin book. So Tina Lifford, Bonnie Turpin, and Janice Abbott Pratt, who I also love. That's a heavy hitter squad, right? Now, and that book is broken up into 3 parts. Did I say what book it was? It's One Blood. I never held up the damn book. Okay, it's One Blood by Deneen Miller, right? The book is told in 3 different parts. Tina Liffer is in the first part. Second part is Bonnie Turpin. And the third part is Janice Abbott Pratt. I mean, it's just a heavy hitter. It's just really good. I do wish that we got more of Tina Liffer's part, because when I tell you, ooh, I was just listening. I was just like, she is narrating the hell out of this book. Like, she is killing it. She doing voices. Like, she was just killing it. And when you have to really just pause the audiobook, like, yo, she is really, like, it felt like she was really acting. She was for real acting. And I love that in my audiobooks. I love that. You know, act that shit out, you know? Give me some voices, give me some noises, like give me all of that. Give me all of that. Let me use my credit for something, you know? Okay, so that's that one. Oh, Love After Love by Ingrid Prasad. And I love this book so much. Like, this book, this was just like such a heartfelt novel. And this is actually narrated by the author herself. I read this for Read Caribbean Month, and I just love this audiobook so much. Like, I really respect the fact that she decided to narrate it herself, because we are going to get the best. We're going to get the best narration from the author. If she could do it, we're going to get it, because she knows certain parts and how exactly she wants it to sound, the cadence, like the octave. Like, she knows exactly what she wanted, and she nailed it. Like, she did a fantastic job. This book is set in Trinidad, and I mean, obviously she's Trini, so she's going to have the accent down pat, but just like the humor that's in it, like, it's heartfelt. But first of all, when I went into this book, I thought it was a romance. It is not a romance. It is not a damn romance. I'm telling you this right now. So don't pick this up thinking that, oh, it's a romance, because it's not. You see like the cute little birds on the cover. It's not a romance, but it definitely talks about love. It definitely is about love. How you can love people in ways that aren't romantic. You know what I mean? Yeah, I really enjoyed this book a lot. How Beautiful We Were by Mbolu Mbui. And I have mentioned this book many times before. I love this book. This audio book has a full cast, and I love a full cast. And we also have The Great Mrs. Elias by Barbara Chase Ribbaud. Sorry if I'm killing that name. That is narrated by another one of my favorite narrators, Robin Miles. And Robin Miles kills it. I have listened to many Robin Miles books, and this one, I think, it just felt like this one, you know, I'm getting real tired of these dogs. I don't have no dogs. These are like neighbors' dogs, and I'm hearing them, and they in my video, and it's really annoying. Like, super annoying. Okay, let's continue, right? It's narrated by Robin Miles, and I feel like this one probably stretched Robin the most creatively, because she had to do a lot of voices of like Irishmen, and like old waspy white men from back in the day. Like, she was doing it. Like, she was really doing it. And I was like, it's still Robin Miles? It was still her. She did all the voices, and she killed it. So because of that, this book is gonna be, you know, pretty high up there for me as far as audiobooks. Now the story itself is cool, you know what I mean? This is another book that is a fictionalized version about a real millionaire black woman, and you know, we love to read about those, right? But there's a certain part of this book that kind of loses me, and I'm not sure that I'm the only one that this happens to, but there's something that is disconnected at a certain part. Like in the beginning, I'm like, okay, like I'm rolling with you, but then at a certain point, it's almost as if something goes on too long to where we begin to lose interest, you know. But I am including it anyway because Robin Miles puts her foot in the narration of this book. The next text is the first one, Better. And for this one, I am going to talk about sequels that are not as good as book one. And the first one is going to be A Torch Against the Night by Saba Tahir. I did not like this one as much as I enjoyed in Ember in the Ashes. I will say that. But I still liked it. I still liked it. And then also Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. I feel like I really enjoyed A Throne of Glass. I ate that book up, right? I ate it up like candy, super quick, right? And then when I read A Crown of Midnight, it had me hyped up to read A Crown of Midnight, right? Nothing happens in A Crown of Midnight for like 80% of the book. Nothing happens, really. It's a bunch of back and forth, you know, is she gonna do this thing, is she not gonna do this thing, right? All for Sarah J. Maas to hit us with a big bang at the end, right? So I'm like, okay, so she was saving the book for the end, and that kind of like irritated me because I feel like A Throne of Glass from the beginning to the end was like constantly moving, right? And then it was like you was just chilling for 80% of Crown of Midnight. Like people don't have other books that they could have been reading for 300 pages. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I kind of felt like a little bit like Miss Sarah J. Maas had wasted a little bit of our time. Yeah. So, it's definitely deterred me from picking up Air of Fire. But I hear that it's really good. So, I will try to fit it in probably next year sometime. Okay, and the next text is You Kept Me Up. Mama says, stay out of married people business. So for this one, I am going to do books that kept me up all night, right? And the one that pops to the top of my brain is going to be For the Streets, Summer 2021 by Sion Lee. This book I could not stop reading. I literally could not stop reading. I was in my bed. It was late at night. And yeah, I did not care. I had to work the next day and everything. I did not care. I did not care. I was going to finish this book. And it was so good, so satisfying. It's a standalone. Pick it up if you haven't already. I've mentioned this book multiple times. And another one that kept me up all night was Conflicted Heart by Kay Shani. I love this book. Enjoyed it so much. This is a contemporary romance, and yeah, it when you hear the synopsis, it sounds very messy, but it is only slightly messy. You know that it's messy on paper, but you still are rooting for the two love interests in the book. The next text is, and she wasn't messing with me at first, and now she loved me. So for this one, I am going to recommend some books that at first I DNF'd. Right? At first I DNF'd these books, but then something just made me pick it back up. Like, you know what? Let me give it another shot, right? And the first one is gonna be Kaikai by Vaishnavi Patel. And this book was really good. This book was really good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like this at first it took me a little while to get into, and that's why I ended up closing it like, oh, I don't even have time. But I'm glad that I made the time, because this book ended up being really, really good. If you love fantasy that really leans more on the feminist side, you would definitely appreciate this book. And another book I originally DNF'd was Hungry Ghost by Kevin Jarrett Hussein. And this book, this is another book that is set in Trinidad, and it's really good. It's really good. Caribbean folklore, yes, ghosts, of course. It just, there's so many lessons and gems to have taken from this book. Like, I'm just so grateful that I decided to pick it up again and read it. Because when I was reading it at first, I wasn't really into it. And it's not that the beginning doesn't pull you in, because when I went back to read it again, I was fully pulled in, right? But I think that at the time, I had so many other books going on at the moment that I was just like, you know what? Put this one down for now and just like go back to it. Like, it felt a little slow to me. And I think it's just because everything else I was reading at the time was just really fast. So, you don't want to miss out on this one. This is a good one. This is definitely a good one. The next text is I'm So Far Behind. And for this one, I'm going to mention some series that I still have not continued because I am a piece of work. These are books that I really enjoyed. These are series that I really enjoyed book one, and for some reason I still have not continued on the series. I don't know what's wrong with me. So let's go through a few of them. It's a lot, but we only gonna talk about 3 in this video. Oh, sorry. We only gonna talk about 5. No, we only gonna talk about 4 in this video. So the first one is going to be the Burning series by Evan Winter. I absolutely love book 1, The Rage of Dragons. I loved it so much. I did read a small portion of book 2, which is Fires of Vengeance, but I did not get very far in it. I think that I just need to stop getting so distracted and really decide, okay, I'm doing this. I'm going into the second book and I want to finish it, because I hear that book 2 is really good, and I really do want to continue the series. I think there's supposed to be a book 3, and I don't know when book 3 is coming. But maybe I'll figure out when book 3 is coming and then try to do book 2 closer to book 3, because I don't like it when it's too far apart. Also, this is embarrassing, but the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin, I've only read book 1. I still need to read Obelisk Gate. I know it's terrible. It's embarrassing. I don't even understand what was I doing all this time in between. What was I doing after book 1? Like, why didn't I pick up book 2 right away? Because book 1 ended up bang, and it's like, how did I just? Because it's not like book 2 wasn't out when I read book 1. It definitely was. I definitely could have did this, and I just, like I said, I'm a piece of work. Another one is the African Immortal series by Teanna Reeve-Dew. I'm such a fan of Teanna Reeve-Dew. I am such a damn fan. And I think when I really realized I was a fan was when I read book 1, which was My Soul to Take. When I read book 1, My Soul to Take, that's when I really realized I am a fan. I want to continue reading more books by this woman, because the way her mind works is just, it's amazing. You know what I mean? Because you think about how old some of her books are and when they were written, and you're like, she was way ahead of her time. You know what I mean? So I really enjoyed My Soul to Take, and you would think that I would have picked up book 2 right after. You would think that, but I did not. It's October. I could really still like pick up book 2. It will fit the season. I've already read 2 more Teanna books this month, and I don't even feel bad about it. It would be very interesting for me to pick up another Teanna book. I just might. I'm gonna see if I could get the audio for it, and I might. I'm not even gonna hold you. I just might. And another series that I really need to finish is the Animal series by Kawan. I love this series. I love the Animal series. This is an urban fiction. It's so good. This series is so good. But I have a great reason for why I have not finished this series. I have read books 1 through 4.5. So this is not the same case as the other ones where I only read the first book and I just kind of walked off into the sunset. This one, I don't want to read that last book, which is book 5, because it is the last book in the series. I don't want to read it. I don't want it to be finished. I don't want to be done with Animal. I don't. And I feel like once I read that last book, like, I'm going to be really sad that that's the last one. Like, I feel like I am. But it has to be done, because if I wait too long, I'm going to forget what happened in 4.5. And I don't want to do that. So, it's definitely on my list to just close out that chapter. Hopefully, Kawan has some other books up his sleeve soon. Because he definitely owes us some more books in the Diamond Empire series that I'm looking forward to. So I don't know if he's going to continue with that one. But at least Animal is finished, and I really need to get on there. And the last text from my husband is, what is the name of the book I love? So for this one, I am going to do 2 things. I am going to give the name of a book that I personally love. And I am going to actually tell you what he was referring to. I'm going to tell you the name of the book that he was asking about. This is a book that I read. I personally recommended to him. He's not a big reader, so I'm just putting that out there. But this one I read, and because I know him, I knew that this would be a book that he would love. If he would, give it a chance. I knew that he would love it. And I'm just so happy that he actually did read it and loved it. And he recommend. First of all, what is funny is that he keep forgetting the name of it. I'm like, it's one book. It's one book, and you can't remember the name of one book that you love. He keeps asking me for it. I don't know. It's one book. But anyway, I'm going to tell you the book that I love first. Okay, I got two. So, I absolutely love this book, Hold You Down by Tracy Browne. Rest in peace, Tracy Browne. I love this book so much. This book also made me cry. I did not include it in the crying area because I wanted to save it for this one area here. Even if you're not a fan of urban fiction, I think that you would absolutely love this book, because Tracy Browne had a way of pulling emotions out of us, and making us really love her characters. Like, really feeling like we know her character is so, like, as if they were a family member of ours. She was very good at that. I never read a book of hers where I didn't care what happened to the characters. That never happened. And this is definitely one of her best novels, and I'm looking forward to her last novel that is coming out next year, February, called Brooklyn. Y'all already know I'm fiending for it. I need to have it in my hands, so I'm looking forward to that. Another book that I absolutely love and I constantly recommend is The Women of Brewster Place. Oh, it's a little bit of a glare. The Women of Brewster Place by Gloria Naylor. And this book just continues to remind me that I need to read some more Gloria Naylor books. Like, I have to. It's embarrassing that this is the only one of hers that I have read. And I continue to collect Gloria Naila's books. I just need to actually just like read them, right? Okay, so now I'm going to tell you the book that my husband absolutely loves. And that is going to be Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. He loves this book. I love this book. This book is phenomenal. That's about one of the only words that I could think of to describe it. Everything else just doesn't do it justice. The amount of conversation that him and I was able to have when he finished reading this book, it was everything to me. Like, it was, first of all, like a book discussion with my husband. Like, it was just so romantic. Like, you read that? You read this book that I told you to read and you loved it? It was sexy. Like, it was very sexy. So, it was just so much good discussion from this book. And honestly, anybody that you recommend this book to will definitely have a lot of discussion. But we were able to apply it to our personal lives and how we met and how it possibly could not have happened that way. And then, you know, he would have never met the best woman in his life. So, yeah, you know, good thing. Anyway, so that is it for this video. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Shout outs to Margot Reddit for this trend. It is absolutely dope. I had so much fun looking through my texts from my husband and trying to figure out a way to make it fit into book recommendations. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give me a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And please subscribe if you haven't already so you can see even more videos from me talking about other recommendations. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.